Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well today. I'm doing great. Today, we're going to be doing another start to finish custom costume. Now, I know I've been doing, I do a lot of these and I've been putting them out week by week. But I just thought that, it's fun to kind of see what I'm working on, the different designs and my process through going through those designs and how I'm doing special little things within each of those different designs that may be different that you can find useful, or you can see a little way into my brain of how I make this all happen. So today's video, we're creating a costume to the music of Vogue by Madonna. So I wanted something that was modern, of course, but that had kind of sharp lines, that wasn't overly like crazy looking, still skater, but had the Brad touch of all the beading. So this is what I've come up with. It's black, and we're going to have gold crystals on it, and we have all these different sharp lines that are on the bodice and going into the skirt with long black mesh sleeves to kind of give a nice sleek look. We're going to do a zipper up the back, so maybe I'll show you how I do my zippers. Ooh, that might be a good video, because I've been within each of these dress videos, I've been trying to find one thing that I can pull out and do like some secondary content. So I think maybe zippers will be good today. So stay tuned for how I put in my zippers. All right, so I'm gonna bring you over here to the pattern table. I've already actually drafted the patterns. I did that yesterday while I was waiting for some stuff to dry. And so I didn't get that on camera, but we're not going into a pattern tutorial in this video. And you can see my other videos of me fastly working to show those patterns. And at some point, I know you guys really, really want to see some pattern making skills in these videos. So I will get to that at some point, but I kind of gotta reel you in and then let go a little bit. Reel you in and let go a little bit. If I give it to you all at once, what are you going to come back for, right? All right, so I'm going to bring you over here to the pattern table. We'll discuss the patterns and the plan of attack on how I'm going to create the base of this dress, and then we'll do the beading, which is always the fun part that brings any costume to life. All right, so I'm going to bring you over here. All right, we are at the pattern table. Like I said, I've already drafted these patterns yesterday when I was waiting for something to dry, just to kind of knock it out because I had that little space. So I didn't get that on camera, but I wasn't even going to be really explaining what I'm doing. It's just the sped up version like you've seen in all the other videos. But at some point, we will do pattern videos. But I always find it fun putting together patterns, even though I don't love it, because I don't think I'm the best pattern maker. I feel like I make it work. But I do find it fun that I feel like creating these costumes, it's almost like a puzzle. You gotta figure out where all the pieces go. And sometimes it's fun to kind of twist the puzzle in a way, so that your eye, doesn't know why something looks good, but it works, it's clean. So I've definitely done that with this costume because there's a lot of beaded lines that are going around, and I like to make sure that everything flows within a costume, especially around the side. There's a lot of times that I see that things don't match up, where the line is broken, and I always like to make sure that my lines flow around, because as skaters, performers, a lot of times we have the hands up and we skate around, and you're seeing a 360 view of the person. If you get to the side and it doesn't match up, or it doesn't flow around in the right way, your eye knows it. And your eye definitely knows it when you see something that is made well. You may think, I don't know why that looks great, but there's a reason, and it's because probably it's been constructed in a way that everything flows and it just is seamless all the way around it. So I like to think of making patterns as kind of like a puzzle, and I like to sometimes kind of turn that puzzle, twist it around so that there are interesting things about it. So with this dress, we've got the sleeve pattern. Now, I know a lot of y'all wanted to see how I do these sleeves. That is the #1 requested video. I hear you. I will be coming with one at some point, but I'm gonna kind of starve you for a little bit, as I like to say, so that when it comes, you're like, oh, So that will be coming, but I like to do these seamless mesh sleeves, which can be kind of a pain sometimes because you have to make sure that you can get it widthwise on the fabrics. The fabric that I use does not have a lot of stretch long ways on the roll, but it goes across the width of it. So sometimes when you're putting it on, sometimes it doesn't fit. So you kind of have to do it at an angle. And so these sleeves can be a little tricky. But the reason why I love these sleeves is that a lot of times when we skate with our hands up, and you're seeing this line here. And so just to like not break that line with a seam around the armpit is really nice. It just makes it so nice and clean. That's another one of those techniques, I guess, that is used that you may not see why something looks really, really good, but you know that you like it. It's because it just is flowing. Just make sure everything flows around the costume. All right, so we've got the sleeve pattern, and then we have got the bodice pattern. Now, what I will do with this is going to be made out of Lycra. So I have the lining, I have the black Lycra, and then I put it behind the mesh. And so then it all is one solid piece together. And then I'll zigzag around here, cut away a little bit of Lycra here. There will be nude cutouts on the side, so I will cut that out. But as you can see, there are beading lines on these. Now, also as you can see, the lines right here, I've made it so that it flows up. And so the B part where it's coming up is actually not directly on the side seam. It's slightly in the front. And that was just because when I was figuring out like where I wanted to have this line, it looked a little better if you like it was moved a little bit to the front. So those are things that you have to think about so that the dress is flowing. So once I put this together, the dress will flow together with those lines. Now, it's always tricky. You really have to take your time with these types of patterns when you're drawing out the beaded lines so that you make sure everything just comes in and is perfect together. Now, same with the skirt, because there will be a little lined belt almost around the waist, but this skirt is also kind of continuing, the beading is continuing onto the skirt. So they have these points. So this is not just going to end here, there's going to be a point in front and in back on the skirt so that it continues to go in the skirt past that belted line. And then we have some side pieces. Now also on the side, I have twisted where the V comes, and it will slightly hit in the back. It's not going to be hitting directly on the side seam. Again, that was just something that, with the way that it was kind of, I thought, pieced together, it would look best if it kind of just curved around to the back. So that is something that really elevates a costume, is when you think about those things. And you're not just doing things up to seams, but you're really continuing lines around, and everything is flowing together. So this is going to be a tough one to like really piece together, but once it's done, you've done the beading, it really will like just elevate that look just so much more because you are doing those things, which a lot of times you probably won't notice why that it's being done that way, that's kind of going past seams in the front or in the back, but your eye will know it and think, I really like the way that fits, and it just looks so nice on that person. So that is just something I think is really good to think about. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start cutting this out. So I'll cut everything, and then we will start the sewing process. With that, I'm going to stop my jibber jabbering. We'll get on to the cutting. All right, here we go. All right, I have cut out all the pieces that I need, and normally I would go on to sewing at this point, but today I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to draw on beading lines. Now, I have multiple ways that I do this, but since this dress has a lot of lines that are very symmetrical and I want them to be perfect, I'm going to do it a different way than I normally do it. But I've done this a few times and it really works out great. But normally I do not do it this way. Normally what I would do is I would either draw it on the back of the lining, and then I could take a basting stitch, which is basically a straight stitch that is on the highest setting, so it's really long stitches that you can pull the threads out. I would do a basting stitch around all the lines that I wanted, and then I could turn around onto the front and then mark where those lines are. Now I mark it with a Sharpie pen. Now this is dangerous because if you mess up, it's not going to come out. So you either have to figure a way to cover it, or you're going to start over again. So everybody may not like this, but the reason why I like the Sharpie pen is that it shows up on dark colors. It gives you a nice lines that you can see. Now I know on a video recently somebody posted or commented that like, oh, you can also use chalk. Yes, you can use chalk. And the nice thing about chalk is that you can draw it on. If you don't like it, you can put a little water on it and it comes off. But the thing that I don't really love about chalk is that this is stretchy fabric. So you have to kind of drag the chalk to get it to show up. And so you're dragging, which is pulling the fabric, which means you may not always be getting the perfect lines. It may be great if you're just trying to map out, like if you're trying to do swirls or waves or something, it may be great for that. Wonderful. But for something like this where you want precise, perfect lines, I have found this is great. So sometimes I will, like I said, draw it on the back and do stitches to the front, and then I can copy those onto the front with a Sharpie marker. Now I could also cut out the pattern, which I'm going to do, but I could also cut out the pattern, lay it down, and then just go over it like this. Now, normally I would have the mesh, because there's going to be mesh on the top of this. Normally I'd have the mesh on top before I draw any lines on. However, I have found that if you want perfect lines, sometimes the mesh will move, as you know, on the front. If you want perfect lines, I will just draw it straight onto the Lycra, and then you can put the mesh on top of it, and you can still see the lines through the mesh. So that even when you're beading, if the mesh slightly shifts one direction or the other, you're still getting that perfect line on there. So that's what I'm going to do, because in many of my other videos, as you know, I try not to repeat myself, but I know that there are people, this will be the first video of mine that they see. And so I have skipped a couple of steps that maybe I normally show, and I'm trying to be like, not showing them, because I know people will be like, well, he showed us that a million times. This is the same video and over again. However, I do glue my liner, which is a two-way Lycra, which you can buy on my stock website, so check that out. But I glue it to the color that I'm doing. So this is all one piece now. So the lining and the front of the Lycra is all one piece. So with that, I can then draw my beading lines straight onto the Lycra. Then I can lay the sleeve piece, which is the long sleeve that will go down into the bodice. I can lay that on top, and I can still see those lines through it. I know that was a very long about way of saying what I'm about to do, but that's what I'm about to do. So what I will do is I will take this pattern here, and I will actually draw or cut this line, this curved line under the bust, and then the lines here. And then I will just be able to take a ruler and do these lines here because they're straight, and they're about an inch apart. So I can draw that on the front and the back. And then with the skirt pattern, I will just place the mesh on top of the lines, and then take a ruler and use this Sharpie. So then everything is drawn on, and it is perfect lines, so that when I do the beading, it has a perfect base. So hopefully that makes sense, because dresses like this, as you will see once it's done, it will look really, really great if you just take the time to draw these lines perfectly. Take the time. Now there's some dresses that like they don't need to be symmetrical. The lines can be, you know, different directions, and that is fine. But when you're trying to do a mirror image symmetrical all the way around, you really have to take your time. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to draw the lines on, and then we'll get to the sewing, and then we can get to the beading, and then we can get to it being finished and you seeing the final product. I will stop again when we get to the zipper, because I think that will be a good little tip to see. So, all right, let's get moving on with this dress. All right, we finished drawing on those beading lines. Now, I really took my time, and that took a little while. Like I said, when you're doing these really symmetrical mirrored lines, you really want to take your time. But it really makes all the difference in the end. People are going to be like, wow, that looks quality. That person, whoever made it, really took the time. So as you can see, I've drawn on those lines. And then once we put mesh over it, you will still be able to see through it, and then you can make sure that those lines stay absolutely perfect, because like I said, sometimes that mesh slips a little bit. So especially when you're putting that pin on, it can slightly slip. And so this will just make it absolutely perfect. So I did the front, I did the back, and then of course I did the skirt. I don't know if you can see it on the skirt, but I ended up in the back. You know, sometimes you have to make little adjustments as you go. I have the V's that go down the center, front, and back, and then I have them on the sides. And so if you, I don't know if you can see this, but in the back, I felt like I maybe wanted that V to be longer than the side ones. I think it would be a better look to have it kind of short, because the skirt kind of is shorter in the front and goes a little long in the back. So short, medium, and then long in the back. So I adjusted as I was looking at it with my eye to just add another little line going down, being down in the back to make it a little longer than the side pieces. And I think that will look good. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is start sewing it up. So we will go on to that. Now, if you are interested in this ruler, which I love, if you are interested in the Sharpie that I use, I have a Amazon storefront. And what that means is that I have curated a collection of different items that I use when I'm creating these costumes that I have put there. When you go there and you click on it and then you go to buy it, it gives me a little kickback. Now, I'm finally starting to see a little bit of money. So you guys have been buying a pretty good amount, because I get a very, very teeny percentage, like 3%. So, you know, it's not a lot that I've made, but it's like, wow, to get to that number, people had to buy a lot. So y'all are actually buying it. So this is exciting. I'm starting to make a little money on these videos. And so if you're enjoying this content and you want to support me, that is one way you can support me, is by going to that Amazon storefront and seeing the different items that I have. And if you would like to buy one of them, you can buy it. I have my Tuffy rotary cutter, which I cannot cut without, because it saves my hands. I've gotten so old that if trying to cut with scissors, it kills my tendon here. So this Tuffy just makes it like quick little cuts. I have to still do a little bit with the scissors, but all of that stuff is there at the Amazon storefront, and you can see the link down in the description below of how to get to that storefront. So if you want to support me in the channel and you want to buy some stuff because you're going to be buying it anyway, go click on those links and then buy it, and then it supports me and this channel. So thank you for that if you have already bought stuff, because I was actually surprised. I was like, this is going to work, and like, you know, if I'm only getting this teeny percentage off of it, like, am I actually going to make any money? But I made a little bit of money. I can buy me a couple of, you know, McDonald's biscuits, as I say, because I love getting a McDonald's biscuit. So I've made enough money to get a couple of McDonald's bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits. All right, let's get to sewing. I told you I was going to show you how I put it as a zipper in this video, but I decided I'm going to make it a separate video. So that video was posted as my last video, so you can go check out that video, and it will just say how I put a zipper in or something like that. I haven't come up with the title yet, but if you want to see how I put in this beautiful zipper into the bodice, then go check out that video. Plus I have some other videos that are little tutorials. So go watch anything. If you're new here, go watch them all. Go binge them. Gives me more view time. So anyway, I'm going to get on with the dress and add the skirt, and then we can do the beading. Now, we'll talk about this here. Normally I do my beading at home because I can kind of sit in front of a TV, chill out, relax, and get it all done. However, this weekend I'm going to visit my parents, and we're going to hang out for the weekend, and I'm going to do some work from their house. So I will record that. However, I'm not going to do film in their house, me doing like my little intro and where I'm sitting and explaining what I'm going to do. But basically, we'll just go over that here and now. So I'll finish up the skirt, sew it together, and then when I start the beading, it's going to be in gold and black crystals on here. So I will just be doing all these lines, as you can see. You know, we did the beaded lines and they look perfect in there. I'm so excited about this. There will be black crystals on the edges of the nude coming down. Then there'll be the scattered on the neck fading off. Now, normally when we've done sleeves, we've done them where it's not sewn up yet. However, this dress doesn't have any beading on the sleeves other than right around the wrist, and I can deal with that with sewing it up. But normally when I do sleeves and if there's beading on it, I like to bead it flat and then I will sew up the side seams. However, this time we don't have to do that, which I love when that happens, when I can just fully finish the dress and just do all the beading at once. So yeah, so just watch along and we will reconvene after I finished all the beading and the dresses, I guess, would be done. So just watch along as I finish sewing up and doing the beading. I will, if I have any thoughts while I am beading it, I'll do a hands video where I can talk to you and touch it and show you what I'm doing. So I haven't, sometimes when I'm working on it, I get a thought and I will think about it and I'll talk to you. So maybe I will come in there when I'm doing the beading and discuss something. Otherwise, if I don't, then I'll see you on the flip side once she is done. I'm so excited about this one because I think this one's going to be really, really cool and fun. And can't wait to see her all finished up. All right, so I'm going to finish it sewing, start the beading, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's go. All right, and just like that, she is done. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I always forget how long it takes to do any of this line beading because, you know, it doesn't look like a lot sometimes, but it is an incredibly long amount of work and time to, first off, draw it on and get it symmetrical, but then also to bead it on, you have to really take your time to get that straight line, and it's not like doing something like this, which is a lot of the stuff that I normally do, where you can just kind of throw it on and it doesn't have to be lined up or perfect. You're just kind of scattering it around. Doing this line beading can take some time, so you really have to sit there and be patient, and you just go with each line. And basically each line is a 20SS in Crystal Golden Shadow, and then in between each one is a 16SS in Aurum. And then of course in between each of all that, to make the black sparkle, I have some jet hematite. Now you can also use jet, but jet doesn't really give a lot of sparkle. As you can see, the light really hits this jet hematite, because jet is basically, or jet hematite is basically a jet stone with a little bit of coating on it that just gives a little bit of punch to it, so you get that extra sparkle. So that's why I like using the jet hematite over the jet. And then we'll turn her around to the back, and as you can see, we have this crystal, what I like to call a crystal spine. And so it's a real nice detail when you're doing a zipper to be able to do a nice little crystal detail. So if you want to check out how I put in the zipper to this costume, I posted a video a couple days ago of how I do my zippers and try to get them as flat as possible. And I think this one turned out nice and flat. And then of course I beat it on top of it, and I have it 30SS in Crystal Golden Shadow, one in between each other in a 20SS in Aurum, and then I have some fans in Crystal Golden Shadow, but then also in Crystal Silver Night, which is like a dark, deep gray. And then I have some teardrops in the Crystal Golden Shadow as well. So that just gives a nice little detail when you're looking at that. And of course I have this the triangular pieces here that come down into the skirt, along with a little, just a little banding of crystals around the cuff. And of course we have the mixed stones up on the neckline. We have an 18 millimeter in metallic sunshine in the cushion cut. And cushion cut is really one of my favorite cuts, especially in these 18 millimeters, because I love a big chunky stone. And so I love mixing, so I have some fans in Crystal Golden Shadow as well. And then of course I have 20, 30, 40, and 48 in Crystal Golden Shadow all mixed in. So it just gives a nice little texture. Because if you're just doing like a 20SS on there, it kind of looks a little flatter, and some people may like that, but I like a little texture within my costumes. So that's why you do the different sizes and textures and shapes and everything. It gives a lot of nice textures throughout the costume. All right, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video and seeing the start to finish, bringing from paper to reality really, of this costume. And if you're enjoying this video, something that would be really, really helpful to me, and I'm adding this to my videos, to my housekeeping, is to share these videos to anybody that you think may enjoy it. So if you have a friend who enjoys sewing, or just seeing the process of things being made, and you think they would enjoy my content, please send them over here. I know a lot of you guys are part of Facebook groups and other internet groups, and so if you would please share any of the content that you think would be relevant in those groups that are my videos to them, to let them know what I got going over here on the YouTube. Please share to those groups, because that's really helpful to me to kind of grow this community here and to have a bigger audience, so that I can get to as many people as possible who would enjoy these videos. And then with that being said, you can also like, subscribe, and comment on the videos here. That's really helpful to me. It kind of gets the algorithm getting its juices flowing, and sends more people over here to find out what I got going on here as well. And you can leave me a comment below and I will answer it if you have a question, or you can just leave me like, oh, I love this video, or leave me an emoji that's like a little heart eyes or something. You know, anything is love. You know, I love that. You can also check out my websites. I have two. I have my main website, braggraphies.co, which is where I have all of my made-to-order styles that you can check out and order. And those made-to-order styles can be made as shown, but you can check your, you can order your own size and color, but then you can also change skirts and other little slight details to it. Don't get too crazy though. And then you can also check out, if you would like to order a custom costume such as this one, you can check out the details on that website as well on how to order a custom costume. Then I have my secondary site, which is my stock website, and that's basically where I hold everything that is ready to ship to you and can get to you right away. So I have some costumes on there. I have my elastic. I have some fabric and hoping to add more fabric. And then I have some trims and hoping to add more trims. But basically anything that I have that's ready to go and I'm ready to get rid of, it's on that website, bradgstock.com. And then if you would like to check out my Amazon store, that is where I have curated a collection of all the things that I use to create these costumes. So scissors and glue and airbrush and my tuffy cutter and the glue that I use to spray in the lining. I have all those things over there so you can see all the things that I use to create the costumes. And if you would like to buy them for your costumes or your creations, you can click on that link. And when you do that, it gives me a little bit of kickback when you click on the link and you buy something. And I'm starting to actually see a little bit of cash coming in, which is nice. Not a lot, because I just get a little teeny tiny kickback, but anything's worth it. And so I'm, hopefully we get to a point where, these videos are doing well and I can get a little kickback from them as well. So that's why I need you to share me or let other people know or like or subscribe. Because if you're enjoying this content, all those things are very, very helpful. All right, so you can check out that Amazon store. There's a link down below in the description where you can click on it and it takes you there. And if I ever have any things that I talk about within these videos, they will be linked directly in the description. So you can just do a quick little click and go right there and buy it. And then the last thing is going to be, if you would like to follow me on my socials, you can of course follow me here on YouTube, but I also have Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is where I do the most posting, and most of the time it just gets kicked to Facebook. So, but you can go over there and you can see all the costumes that I'm working on, and you can see detailed photos up close of all the beading if you want to see the detailed of all the crystal work that I do. But then I have other little teeny tiny videos on there. I also have any notifications that I want y'all to know about, like if I'm having a sale on a website, or if I have a new item that is going into that stock website or whatever. I always have little notifications that I put up on my Instagram, and that's how I share what's going on in the Brad Griffey's world. All right, so you can follow me there on all those platforms at Brad Griffey's. And with that being said, I think we are done today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. So y'all have a beautiful day. I'm going to continue chugging along, creating more costumes, and we will see each other next time. All right? All right. Have a great day.